Good morning and welcome to the Wellness Movement. You are watching Zingo TV, channel 250, 251, and the H.E.R network. So make sure to download Zingo TV on your app store. And so today I have a very special guest, my friend and colleague, Karen Peterson. So I just wanted to read a little information about Karen, and then we're going to dive into this chat. So at 34, yoga found Karen in a treatment center where she was recovering from a lifelong addiction to alcohol and drugs. Karen has since recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body and has dedicated her life to the practice, study, and the teachings of yoga. So Karen is the owner and operator of Blissed Out Yoga and Fitness Studio, where she uses the space as her platform to help others heal so that they may discover their truest nature. Karen studies meditation for awakened consciousness under the guide of her beloved teacher, Juan Ruiz Napari, and incorporates his teachings into all her dynamic, therapeutic, and alignment-based classes. Karen creates a safe and non-competitive space for all students to dive beneath the surface of their daily lives to find deeper meaning and inspiration. She mindfully guides them to become their own inner gurus, so that they may embody the gracious host of their experience, the curious and fearless explorer of their bodies, and the conscious creators of their existence. Her classes offer creative sequences, intentionally themed, emphasizing proper alignment, focused pranayama, mindfulness, and meditation in several styles of yoga. For Karen, her practice continues long after she rolls up her yoga mat, for it is a way of life. Yoga was once Karen's way out, and it has since become her way in. She will forever be dedicated to the study of spiritual texts and has recently completed her own manuals for future trainings. Karen has also found immense excitement in hosting awakening retreats around the world. Gently spiritual in her approach, she hopes to awaken all of humanity one practice at a time. So amazing bio, and we have the yoga world in common because I taught for years and years and years and hung up my yoga shorts, but I still practice every day.
Good.
Yeah. So I've heard you speak a number of times, and I know you've shared your story, your path to getting clean and sober, but I thought that today it would be really powerful to have a conversation about forgiveness, especially self-forgiveness, because so much of our mind gets stuck in the past, and based on past experiences can get really scared and fearful about the future. And especially in these times that we live in, I think it is powerful to have practices that remind us that we are the creator of our own lives, and that forgiveness is also an essential spiritual practice in order to create a balanced, happy, and joyful life. So I'd love to hear, what are some of the practices that you do? How do they help you? And what are some of your favorite self-forgiveness tools? I have a couple of mine, but I'd love to share.
And I want to hear yours too. I'd love to hear yours. I'm super grateful to be here with you, Julie. I met Julie just a few months ago and absolutely fell in love with her. I feel that your vibration is really in alignment with mine, and that we're kind of on the same timeline. So I'm so glad that you came into my life, first of all. So for me, like I'm really still continuing to work on my forgiveness journey. I mean, I've forgiven myself, but now what I'm working on is releasing the guilt, the shame, the regret, the remorse, the self-pity. For a long time, when I first sobered up, I'm almost 43. So it's been about almost 7 years, but for a long time, because I had one slip at 13 months, but now I have 6.5 years of continued clean and sober time. But for a long time, I was longing, the years that I wasted. So I spent the first few years of my sobriety in sort of self-suffering, making myself suffer for the way that I had destroyed my life. Like I burned my life to the ground many times, you know, smashed my life to dust. And so I was like in this weird grief for who I didn't become, thinking like, because once I found sobriety and started to be with the light and come out of the darkness, I was sad that, you know, from 11 years old to 34 years old, I was, you know, not living. I was just existing, and my life consisted of getting drugs and using drugs and coming off drugs and getting more drugs. And it was just this endless cycle of, I thought I was crazy. I didn't know that I had a disease. I just thought it was nuts. Like I couldn't understand why I couldn't stop. I wanted to stop with all my heart, but I just couldn't. And so I was in this place of feeling so sorry for myself that I had wasted so much of my life, right? And now I've through the help of my teacher and through work with meditation and with plant medicine, I was able to be guided by Divine Mother to show me that instead I need to switch it all to gratitude that I made it out at all. Like so many people that are trapped in drug and alcohol addiction will never ever make it out. That is how they will exist until they stop breathing. So I started to incorporate a practice of gratitude, which started with my sadhana practice, getting up at 4:44 a.m., prayer, meditation, journaling, and just that quiet time without any electronics, without any family members, without anybody, just me. And I made an altar, and I started to really hone in on the vibration of gratitude. You know, like I'm definitely living a life that at one time I certainly did not deserve. And I can be grateful that I found a way out, you know, with the help of treatment and, you know, outside help with therapy and that kind of thing. And then, of course, yoga, meditation. And so the forgiveness for me, the true deep forgiveness that I've actually received has only actually been recently, because what was happening for me is that I would see the experiences that I had, especially when it comes to my daughter, my youngest daughter, because she was the first 6 years of her life, she was with me in my addiction, right? Until she wasn't. But those first 6 years of her life, I would, you know, be in meditation and take myself back to some of those memories of how deeply I neglected her and how I couldn't be present because I was too consumed with my addiction. And I didn't see her for the gift that she was. Like a child is a gift for us to mold and shape and teach morals, values, all these things. And I wasted that. And, you know, so I was being shown all these circumstances and all these past experiences that would just throw me back into the pit of despair and pity and remorse and guilt and shame. And I was stuck in the cycle where I would sob, like deep guttural sobs, like, you know, from my womb space of just pain, right? For the pain that I caused others and the people that tried to love me and just could, like, I shoved them all away. And so just recently I had a journey through the guide of my teacher into a place of, where I closed that loop, you know, like I finally closed that loop because yes, some things that happened to me in my childhood were obviously not my fault and hugely traumatic and absolutely played a part in me using alcohol and drugs to soothe and to numb out. But the healing is my responsibility. And, you know, the guilt is serving no one. You know, it doesn't serve her. It doesn't serve me. It doesn't serve anybody. It's why am I staying in that place 7.5 years later? I'm still in that same morass of pity and guilt and shame. So I actually was shown by Divine Mother and my guides and my ancestors that it's up to me to take myself out of self-made suffering. Right? Like, yes, I'm the sufferee, but I'm also the sufferer. Like I'm causing myself to suffer so much more than I need to. So it was a pretty magical and profound experience that I finally was able to close that loop. I don't need to, there's nothing I can do to change my past, right? It is what it is. Every single thing that happened, I cannot undo. You know what I mean? So why am I wasting my time and my energy focused on those horrific times? It's also keeping me stuck from who I'm trying to grow into, right? Because there's so much attachment to like, I did this and what a horrible person I am and what a bad mom I am. And, like, look at what I did to my poor child and blah, blah, blah. It's like, she has forgiven me. She's 14 now, almost 15. And she has fully forgiven me. Why can I not forgive myself? Right? I have forgiven my abusers. Why can I not forgive myself?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's really, I think if anybody could be in the mind of another person and hear the thinking and the self-judgments and the places we keep ourselves stuck, like I have my own, things that I was not the person then that I am today, right? So obviously our experiences, and especially the challenging experiences, offer us the gift of transformation and self-transformation. But it's interesting where the mind likes to hang out, and how much it likes it's that conditioning, that self-judgment, and that loop, that repetitive loop. I think I was actually out of Vipassana where I noticed like the way that my mind would work, the spiral that it would go on under. And now I'm a lot better at catching it and going, no, we're not going there. It's done. It is done. It's done. So my sort of like, I journal.
Good.
I journal. Gratitude, actually, it's funny because the gratitude practice was huge for me too. I was so stuck. I don't think you know my whole story, but I was married and my husband had a heart attack and passed away. And so I was stuck in grief, like deep, deep grief. And my body was like just in chronic physical pain, like immense pain. I couldn't seem to move past it. Even though like the circumstances in my life started to shift, I was stuck. And so I was actually working privately with a coach, and she got me onto gratitude practice and gratitude and tapping. And so those were two keys that, because it was funny, because I was still meditating, I was still doing yoga, but yoga was very, very painful because of the state that my physical form was in. And so the gratitude practice actually started to help lift me out of that physical pain. Gradually, like it didn't happen overnight. And then the other part of that was tapping. And so the last little while, like I still do tapping every day, I still do gratitude practice, but I actually started adding a couple of forgiveness prayers. One of them is the Hawaiian prayer. And I do that more for just like self-forgiveness. And then the other one is, I'm not sure if you're familiar with it, but it kind of goes, if anyone has hurt me in the past, knowingly or unknowingly, I forgive and release it. And if I have hurt anyone in the past, knowingly or unknowingly, I forgive and release it. So I do that practice after meditation every single day, just to kind of like, and sometimes if there's an image of a person who comes to mind, like if I'm harboring any resentment towards anyone, like I will use that practice to help release any emotions that might be there. So those are some of the things that I use. And I actually lately have been thinking that, forgiveness, it's probably necessary to do a forgiveness practice in some way, shape, or form daily.
I agree. I fully agree. Like I wrote out, 111 times, I forgive me, for 111 days. And it was hugely helpful. I really feel that pen to paper is a powerful practice on its own, where it's so beautiful. And this is another thing, like this morning, actually, I was including how grateful I am to you, to meeting women that, that I feel have a story that I can resonate with and that, can help me in my journey. You know what I mean? Like you've already helped me so much immensely in the way that you were so kind to me, helping me with that project when I couldn't figure out how to do the computer stuff, back a month ago or so, whatever it was. And the fact that you reached out and said, listen, I'll do a Zoom with you and help you. And I can work this out for you and teach you how to do it. It's like, nobody's ever offered to help me learn something, it's been more the normal for people to be like, I can't believe she doesn't know how to use a computer. Like, oh my God, and it really touched me that you took that time to spend with me, to teach me when it was, you just met me. And so I know that you've done a lot of self-work. I know that you've done a lot of your own inner work. You can just tell when people have really worked on their own inner work. You know what I mean? Like, we're not here to do anybody's work for them. We're not here to take other people's inventory. We're just here to be better women than we were before. And that requires us to constantly be doing that inner work. And, yeah, so I'm going to use that prayer that you just said. Actually, that's really beautiful and powerful. And I'm going to add that in because because I did make a decision, a few years ago to forgive my abusers, and it was really powerful. But then I also sort of made that my last, thought of when you block things out and just go, okay, I'm done with that. I'm not, but I think I need to continue saying it and releasing, because I'm sure there's a lot of, untold stories that are inside me that I've numbed out and haven't been ready to face yet. Even with yoga, holding certain poses brings up trauma for me. So then I quickly move out of them so that I can, I'm not ready to face that yet. I work with a woman that does Rainer massage, and I've been working with her for a really long time. And there's still some parts of my body that are inaccessible because I'm not ready to face it's just, we're never going to be done. We're going to be doing this for forever. Right. And that's okay. It's like, whoa, this is going to be a lifelong thing. But it's like, I think about where I am today and where I was. And that's the other part why gratitude is so important and forgiveness is so important, which, comes along with understanding, right? And acceptance. I know today that acceptance is the key to all my problems, right? Like, if I'm bothered by a person, place, thing, or situation, it's something within me that I'm unwilling to accept, right? So the practice of acceptance has been, immensely powerful for me. Accepting others as they are, not my expectations of others. It's just, it's been an incredible ride. I'm really looking forward to where I go.
Yeah. I mean, the past is done, right? We can't change anything. All we can do is create a beautiful future. And our individual triumphs over whatever obstacles that we've faced in life, like those triumphs actually serve as a lighthouse for others who are in that space to start to lift themselves out, right? Like, you've had assistance in terms of going to a treatment program, but you've also done the heavy lifting. Like, the heavy lifting is having a daily spiritual practice, showing up on your mat, doing meditation, going to therapy. Like, that's the heavy lifting that a lot of people, like in our current society, it's very easy to avoid those things. You can watch Netflix, you can numb out through food, drugs, alcohol. You can spend all your time online or on social media and completely you're awake, but you're not awake. You're missing your entire life. There's so many ways to
distract.
To not do that self-healing work. But for those who choose to take it on and do it, and you really start to thrive, that serves as a beacon of hope for others.
That's one thing my teacher always says is eliminate the distractions, right? Eliminate all those distractions, be present. You're going to miss your life, right? It's going to blast right past you, and you're either totally in the past or too far in the future and not grounded, right? Like, yes, we can be spiritually high, but we still have to keep our feet grounded, Yeah. Amazing.
I also like every day having times when, because both of us do work in the online space, and it can be very easy to get consumed by technology. But I have times in the day where my phone's in airplane mode, I'm unreachable, and or I'll like leave the house with my dogs, go for a walk, the phone's nowhere near me, and I just get rid of all those distractions so that I can just have some time with myself and whatever is around me in the moment instead
Mhm.
of, always being pulled out of that moment. Um, yeah. Oh, I wish we had we only have a couple minutes left, but you have an amazing retreat coming up in Greece.
Yes, yes, to Greece. So we're going to the island of Amorgos. This retreat is a awakening retreat, a bliss awakening retreat, and there's about 26 of us going, and we leave on July 29th. Really looking forward to it. It was supposed to happen last summer, but they canceled everything. So yeah, so it's been a long time in the making, and I haven't done a retreat since the December before, the virus. So I'm super excited. I've never been to Greece, but I know this resort inside and out because I've been dealing with them for 2.5 years now. Yeah, it's going to be amazing. We have one room left. If anybody's out there that's like feeling the call to go to Greece and, play with us, that's awesome. But yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah, that's amazing. And it'll be great to, if you're open to it, to have you on another time on the show when I have the longer segment, because I feel like we could probably talk for ages.
Hours. Yes,
Yeah.
100%.
And
Yeah.
share more tips and tricks and things to help people to align to their true purpose.
Yes,
Right?
I think the most important takeaway because it's a short little segment, but for people to start a practice upon awakening. You know what I mean? Upon awakening, what is it that you're doing as soon as you open your eyes, right? Like it's life changing to
Mm-hmm.
create a practice upon awakening.
Yeah. Yeah. So amazing. Thanks so much for joining
Thank
me today.
you.
I truly, truly appreciate it. We figured out the tech.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those who are watching the show, this show can be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Her network is a part of Spanglish World Media. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all news and programming. Spanglish World. Watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it.
Beautiful.